Man, I think it's the next step up mentality as far as players. Our shifts keep changing. Everybody doing a different role, and so I think we all got the mentality where you give and you sacrifice, and I think that's what y'all see.
In a game that was expected to highlight a marquee matchup between Caitlin Clark and Paige Bueckers, the Indiana Fever instead delivered a performance that redefined their identity as a team. Scheduled to be a battle between two of the most talked-about players in the league, the clash between the Fever and the Dallas Wings drew more than 20,000 fans to the American Airlines Center, setting a new Texas record for women's basketball attendance. This kind of hype wasn't manufactured, it was earned. The WNBA world had circled this date from the moment both players were drafted, Clark as the 2024 #1 overall pick and Bueckers following in 2025. However, the storyline took a sharp turn when news broke that Clark would be sidelined due to a groin injury. The disappointment was palpable, but what followed was something far more unexpected and ultimately unforgettable. Without their franchise star, the Fever were presumed vulnerable, especially coming off a demoralizing loss to the Los Angeles Sparks the night before. But in this moment of adversity, Indiana did not crumble, they recalibrated. The absence of Caitlin Clark posed a critical question. Could the Fever function without their offensive engine? Coach Stephanie White was faced with an unenviable challenge and responded with a move that would redefine the night. McDonald, a player yet to start a game this season, was inserted into the starting lineup in a decision that appeared desperate to some but strategic to others. The Dallas Wings, confident and aggressive, expected a one-dimensional Indiana team centered around Kelsey Mitchell. What they got was a complete reconfiguration. McDonald didn't just step in, she set the tempo. Her speed disrupted Dallas' defensive setups and created space that hadn't existed in prior games. Mitchell, operating off the ball, found room to attack in her natural rhythm, while McDonald orchestrated plays with a composure that belied her limited minutes. What looked like a patch job became the foundation of a brand new system that Dallas hadn't prepared for. And in that unfamiliarity, Indiana found its competitive edge. From the opening whistle, Indiana made it clear that this would not be a repeat of their previous night's collapse. The Fever opened with 7 straight makes from the field, a streak powered by McDonald's precision and the team's improved spacing. The pace was electric, the movement fluid, and the decision-making crisp. McDonald went perfect from the field in the first quarter, attacking with relentless energy and dishing out smart passes that put her teammates in scoring position. Kelsey Mitchell capitalized, scoring with efficiency while maintaining her role as a scoring threat rather than the primary ball handler. Dallas, who had entered the game with a game plan focused on stopping Mitchell, found themselves overwhelmed by an entirely different offensive setup. The ball zipped around the court, Lexi Hull drained threes, and Aaliyah Boston began to reassert herself in the post. It was a masterclass in adaptability. The first quarter ended with Indiana leading 33-13, a margin that stunned everyone in the arena and sent a message. This team is deeper than anyone realized. With McDonald igniting the backcourt and Mitchell playing freely, it was Aaliyah Boston's time to shine. Throughout the second quarter, Boston showcased why she was once a top pick herself. With the floor opened up and defenders stretched thin, Boston had the space and confidence to operate efficiently down low. She grabbed rebounds with authority, scored with both finesse and strength, and anchored the Fever's interior defense. Her presence forced Dallas to adjust, but by then, it was too late. The trust between Boston and her guards was evident, as they consistently found her in positions where she could score or draw fouls. Her footwork, patience, and control were on full display, marking one of her best performances of the season. This wasn't just a bounce back, it was a statement. Boston finished the half with double-digit points and rebounds, all while setting the tone for Indiana's defensive identity. Her effort was emblematic of a team refusing to lean on excuses. But Dallas wasn't about to let this one slip without a fight. In the third quarter, Paige Bueckers began to show why she's one of the most skilled and intelligent players in the league. She scored 27 points, recorded 5 assists, and added 2 blocks and 2 steals, all without committing a single turnover. It was a historic stat line that breathed life into the Wings' comeback efforts. Her ability to read defenses, navigate traps, and hit difficult shots under pressure had the Fever scrambling. Dallas cut into the lead, energizing their home crowd and putting the pressure back on Indiana to respond. The Fever Fever, who had been cruising through the first half, now faced adversity again. Their 20-point lead shrank to single digits, and the atmosphere in the arena shifted. What had started as a showcase of Indiana's depth now became a test of their composure. Kelsey Mitchell answered that challenge with one of the most poised and powerful stretches of her career. As Dallas surged, Mitchell remained calm, hitting timely shots and making smart reads. She finished with 32 points and 7 assists, balancing scoring and playmaking with remarkable efficiency. What separated Mitchell's performance wasn't just the stat line, it was her leadership. When the game began to slip, she took control, directing traffic, creating space for her teammates, and draining contested jumpers when they needed them most. Her decision-making was surgical, especially in the fourth quarter when the Wings threatened to take the lead. She didn't overplay her hand or force shots. Instead, she delivered exactly what the moment required. It was the kind of performance that anchors a team in chaos, and for the Fever, it solidified Mitchell as more than just a scorer. She was the stabilizer, the closer, the engine that held everything together when the road got rough. The closing minutes were marked by grit, not glamour. Aaliyah Boston stepped up once again, this time on the defensive end. With Dallas desperately trying to erase the final remnants of Indiana's lead, Boston made stop after stop. She pulled down contested rebounds, altered shots at the rim, and helped the Fever control the pace. Boston ended the night with 21 points on 9 of 14 shooting and a perfect 3-4-3 from the free throw line. But more than that, she delivered in the moments that don't show up in the box score, rotating quickly on defense, boxing out, and communicating with teammates during crucial stretches. Her defensive instincts combined with Mitchell's offensive control became the 1-2 punch that Dallas simply couldn't counter. Every possession became a grind, and as the clock wound down, Indiana executed like a veteran playoff team. What began as a potential collapse became a defining moment of execution under pressure. After the buzzer, Coach Stephanie White's message to the team was simple but telling: "We grew tonight." That growth wasn't just metaphorical, it was evident in every quarter. From the bold lineup adjustments to the way the Fever handled Dallas' second-half push, Indiana showed maturity, adaptability, and most importantly, belief in one another. This wasn't the same team that fell apart against the Sparks. This was a team that responded to adversity with fire and resolve. The win pushed them to an 8-8 record, placing them third in the Eastern Conference and within striking distance of the top contenders. More significantly, they proved to themselves and the league that they are not a one-player operation. The blueprint for future success had been revealed, and it didn't hinge solely on Caitlin Clark's availability. Indiana had depth, heart, and a rising chemistry that could carry them deep into the season. And then came the quote that encapsulated everything the night had represented. Aaliyah Boston, standing in front of reporters, looked straight into the camera and said 6 simple words: "Every game is a home game." Those words echoed through the basketball world, not just because they sounded good, but because they rang true. Despite being in Dallas, the Fever fans made their presence known. Their jerseys filled the stands, their cheers echoed through the arena, and their energy lifted the team during critical moments. It was a reminder of how far the Fever brand has come, and how much the players feed off that support. Boston's quote wasn't just about crowd noise, it was about culture, it was about connection. The Fever weren't just playing for themselves, they were playing for a community that travels, believes, and shows up regardless of the scoreboard or the roster. Kelsey Mitchell expanded on that sentiment during her own post-game remarks. She talked about how the team thrives off the crowd's energy, how it feeds their transition offense and motivates them during defensive stands. She acknowledged that while Clark may draw the initial attention, it's the collective effort that turns casual fans into loyal followers. This win against Dallas didn't just extend their record, it expanded their identity. It gave players like McDonald and Hull the spotlight, elevated Boston to centerpiece status, and reminded the league that Mitchell is every bit the star Indiana needs. When the Fever head back to Indianapolis for their upcoming 5-game homestand and a Commissioner's Cup showdown against Minnesota, they'll do so with momentum, confidence, and a belief system that's been hardened in the fire of adversity. This is no longer just Clark's team, it's Indiana's team, and they're ready for whatever comes next. If you support the Fever, comment "I've got the Fever" down below. Like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss what this team does next. The road ahead is bright, and this win was just the beginning.